Hi everybody, thanks for stopping by to check out the latest from Sailing Emerald Steel. In this video we're going to be talking about bugs, how to prevent getting them on board, and what to do if you should get an infestation. But before we get started, we once again like to thank all of you that took the time to leave a comment and a thumb up on our last video. We really appreciate hearing from all of you. Thank you so much.
Throughout the years, you always took a great care not to bring bugs to the boat, because it's really a big problem with them, especially in the tropics. So we always took a precaution, like for example, never brought any kind of cardboards into the boat. Every time we got eggs, we made sure we pulled the eggs out of the carton and put it back, and so on. It's just like all the other cruisers take a precaution.
We also would dunk our vegetables and fruit in salt water before we brought them on board, the fresh fruit and vegetables.
Especially the one we purchased in the South Seas. But as much as we took always a care of it, there was one time, and only one time, when we actually got infested by cockroaches.
When we were anchored in Suva, Fiji, on the island of Viti Levu, the time had come to haul out. So we checked around the different boatyards for prices and found out that on the same island, about a day's sail away in Lautoka, there was a boatyard with a good reputation and the right price. So we sailed over there. After anchoring, we took the dinghy to shore to talk to the boatyard manager. Luckily, they had a dinghy dock, and as most cruisers know, you usually have to fight for your space at the dock. Which sometimes requires some pushing and shoving to get in. You have to be careful of the other dinghies though, and use a long painter as well. After talking to the boatyard manager, we agreed upon the price and set the date for hauling out.
Everybody told us be very careful when you go to a dock, because there is a big problem with the cockroaches. Now we always took care of it, make sure everything's closed up and so forth. So we took them very seriously. But after we hauled out and when we got back on the water, to lift the mainsail up, and suddenly a bunch of cockroaches flew out of the sail.
This big, they were huge. They were all over the place.
We said, oh my God, I wonder if any one of them got downstairs.
Right, but we didn't see anything for a while.
We didn't see anything, and then one time I got up in the middle of the night to go have a drink of water. I turned light on, and here I see about 3 cockroaches on the counter. So that was the end of our peace.
We were so upset.
Since then, during the day you never saw them. We always put all the food away, clean up everything. But anyway, every night we made it a cockroach patrol. That means every couple hours I would get up and go with a flashlight, and I always would find 1 or 2 or on the wall or on a counter or someplace hiding. And
then when we were on watches, when we were doing passages, we did the same thing. We would take turns. When I was on watch, I would be looking for them, hunting, and Jules would do the same.
So if it was me or Susan watch, we usually sat behind a chart table with a flashlight in our hand, and periodically, say every 10-15 minutes, we would suddenly shine a light on the wall or just any different locations, and every so often we would spot a cockroach. It was very, very disappointed.
It was upsetting. It was
because
very upsetting.
We never had a problem with the cockroaches, and our boat, not being a fiberglass, that means has a steel hull with insulation and wooden covering. There's many, many places where they can hide. So it was not such an easy thing to
get rid of them. And as most of you probably have already heard, boric acid is supposed to be really good for getting rid of cockroaches, and we spread that liberally around the boat, and that didn't work either.
It did not work at all, and we were very, very surprised. So then when we got to Hawaii, we went to a Costco and we purchased what they call a cockroach motel. It looks something
they're not really cockroach motel. They're called Combat. This is what they are. We got a box of these with like 24, and we put them all over the boat, every place.
Yeah, we put them on the ceiling, on the walls, in the cabinets,
everywhere,
on the floor. And believe it or not, within about 1 week time, we did not see any cockroach.
Yeah.
And then from there on, after for say next 2 months, we've been checking all the time. There was no cockroaches whatsoever. We even left a piece of pork rib on the counter, so the night we could get up and go see it. We never saw anyone. So I know boric acid is very, very much promoted by the cruisers, but we did not have much of success with that. And I can tell you, by this thing here, what Susan showed it to you, we can swear by it. Because once we deployed them with a week time, say, there was none left. So I hate to argue with other people the point, because maybe other people have a different kind of experiences, but we can honestly swear by it.
And this was, but how long ago was that we got the infestation?
In a Fiji, I would say, 1995 or 6.
That was the only time we've ever had infestation, and ever since then we use these whenever we go to the tropics or Hawaii, and we put them liberally around our boat, and we've never had a problem since then, so I recommend them highly.
Susan will show it to you how we go about to close off everything so nothing can come crawl in, how we make our own screens and so forth, because naturally you have to prevent it any way possible.
From getting down below, yeah.
Because I remember one time we were in I believe it was French Polynesia, and we got these flying ants, and suddenly a swarm of them came. I mean, so much that we had to use buckets of water to wash them off the deck.
I think they were actually little tiny termites.
Maybe termites. They look like ants, termites.
Yeah.
But when I say lots, I'm talking about thousands.
Yeah.
There was so much on the deck that we had to use buckets of water to wash them off. And they just came from nowhere, and say a half an hour, they disappeared. So I don't know. You really have to protect all your portholes, your door vents, and so on, so you protect anything from getting in downstairs to your boat.
Yeah, so we have screens for all of our portholes naturally, but the hatches we had to make our own screens, and basically they look just like this. We built them ourselves. You can get some screen making material at Home Depot. It's pretty inexpensive, and basically it's just the screen material, and then you've got this right here is for making the frame, the track, yeah. And then it comes with a gasket material and this little thing to push the gasket in the little crevices. It's pretty simple to make, and then it's got corners. You can make any difference, any size you want, but this is what we've got. We made them for all of our 3 opening hatches, and then I'll show you what we use for our main hatch. We made a different kind of screen for the main hatch. So this is a screen that we use for our main hatch. It's made out of the screen material. I sewed some Velcro into it, and it just works like this. It fits inside the track, this board. This. Just like that. All screened in, no bugs here.
So it's not only keep bugs outside, but also keep Susan inside.
So when you're in a beautiful tropical anchorage and it's extremely hot, the last thing you want to do is sit downstairs all the time, screened in. And Jules and I many times wanted to sit out in the cockpit in the evening and enjoy the beauty of nature. So we would make sure that we had really nice cotton long sleeve light shirts and pants that were as light as you can possibly get, but pretty much cover as much skin as possible. That's what we use when we're out and there's lots of bugs around. So I would highly recommend that you have those. If you go for a nice hike like we did in Daniels Bay in the Marquesas, I made the mistake of going without wearing the long sleeve shirt and pants. I wore shorts and put insect repellent on my arms and legs, but I got eaten alive by the little no-nos, they're called. They're smaller than mosquitoes. So don't make this mistake I did. Even though I used repellent, I was sweating so much it just got rinsed off. And Jules didn't have a problem. He wore shorts and a short sleeve shirt, I believe, but I think because he has hairy arms and legs, they didn't bother him, or maybe they just didn't like his blood, but I got eaten alive. So make sure you cover yourself up.
So pretty much you want to say that I'm hairy.
Or your blood isn't as sweet.
or mosquitoes doesn't like me. But anyway, sitting in the cockpit in the evening is usually where the problem is with the mosquitoes.
Yeah.
So you want to have a light clothing so we are covered, because nothing worse than get eaten alive.
And we also use several of the citronella candles. They make a kind of smoke, and they do a pretty good job of keeping the mosquitoes at bay, I think. Yeah. So a couple of citronella candles in the cockpit will also help.
And here we have a little music for us.
When anchoring in a beautiful bay, you have the tendency to want to anchor as close as possible to shore. But that can be a big mistake because the bugs are much worse there. So it's usually better to anchor out further away if you want to have any peace. Dawn and dusk are always the worst time for mosquitoes.
So as you can see, in over 30 years of sailing, one time has a bug infestation which didn't last for a very long time. It's not really that bad, but even then it was very, very upsetting.
It was traumatic.
I would like to share with you a story. It happened a few years ago. Once we were anchoring in the South Seas, and a really nice looking boat was next to us, and a man with a woman came over to our boat, and they introduced themselves, and they said, you know, they would like to have us over for dinner. I said, okay, it's fine. So we decided on the time, and when the evening came, we row our dinghy to their boat, got up. They had a very, very nice spread of food on the table, and had a very gentle music, kind of Buddhist music playing. They were all dressed up like Buddhists. They will try to kind of give the atmosphere of spiritual evening. So everything was going really nice till a lady asked Susan to come downstairs to see their boat. So we went downstairs, and as we went down there, on the counter there was cheese and crackers and so forth like that. I take a better look, and I see a cockroach there. So I tell the lady, oh, you have a cockroach here. And she said, come look at me. She said, oh, that's okay. They don't eat much. So I didn't say nothing, but that was pretty much the end of my meal that evening. So I just politely told them I don't really feel very good. I cannot eat. But the truth is, some people are not so much bothered about things like that. I personally am very revolted to see some kind of bugs about it. So we were really upset when we found cockroaches in our boat at that time. But as a story told you, not everybody's all upset about it.
Okay guys, so that's about it for our bug experiences. I hope you got something out of it and learned something. And if you did, don't forget to leave a comment and a thumb up. And before we leave, we'd once again like to thank all of you that support our channel through Patreon and PayPal. We really appreciate your support, guys. Thank you so much, and we will see you all next time. Bye-bye.